So it's a no contest, but he goes through to the next round.
And you don't.
And you don't. I was like, so you're rewarding him for cheating. Every day I can feel myself getting better. And like, I think that's one of the most addictive things about MMA. Carlos is going to retire, yeah? I can see Carlos isn't going to fucking fight me, okay? I trained with Carlos 10 years ago in London Shoot. Carlos is the reason I don't have an ATFL in my left ankle. And this is why I'm calling the guy out, because I want that one back. It's like, 10 years ago you fucked me up. Give me a chance to get it back. I'd be like, Will fucking Fleury. And I'd be like, you know.
Welcome everyone, and the next episode of STAREDOWN show is here. And my name is Pavol Neruda, and my guest is Will fucking Fleury.
Oh, go back.
Welcome.
I was hoping you'd say Will fucking Fleury.
Yeah. What is it, this thing, fucking Fleury? Like, how come?
My friend started it when I was like 17, 18. I used to play rugby. So rugby was the game. Like, I've fucking played since I was 9 years old. And I was always intense. Like, if I hit a tackle, I'd stand over the guy and be like, you know, like, because it's a very physical game. Yeah. And I was always just in that kind of like hyped up, super competitive, intense mindset. So then when I'd cream guys, they'd be like, Will fucking Fleury. And I'd be like, you know.
All right.
So it started there. And then when I started fighting, they were like, what's your nickname? And I was like, I'm just Will fucking Fleury.
All right.
And then nobody would ever announce it. So I got Will effing Fleury a few times in South Africa when I fought with the UFC. They were like, we can do Will feckin' Fleury. And nobody's ever said Will fucking Fleury.
You can maybe keep it like...
I hope OKTAGON will do me a favour calling me Will fucking Fleury sometime.
Yeah, you can make it like...
A lot of the fans are Czech, they won't even... Like, they'll know it's fucking, but like, they don't care, you know, fuck it.
You can keep it like Will F. Fleury or...
F and Fleury,
or F word Fleury.
FN is like... So or what I've done in the past is Will FN Fleury.
So you are an MMA fighter with a long career. You started in 2012. Your first fight, right? So it's a super long time ago. You're kind of a veteran of the sport already. You fought in Bellator, PFL. Now you are in OKTAGON. You did the rugby. Is there anything that we don't know about you? And you did some in other sports. And
like I've done like in MMA, I've done a lot of shit people probably don't know. So like, I did a reality showdown with the EFC in Africa years ago. That was 2017. It's kind of mad how like that's just completely gone now. Like, you know, it's funny, I get like follows from people in like Thailand and it's like, oh, they're airing the show in Thailand. I can kind of tell when the show goes out somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the only way I know.
You suddenly gain followers.
Yeah, like it's just like I'll randomly have like 10 Thai people follow me someday. And I'll be like, huh. And then I like, because I know now a mate of mine was in Cambodia. He was just traveling. He was having a beer in a bar and he sends me a photo of me on the TV. And I was like, oh, they're airing the show down there now. So
it's funny.
That's a weird one sometimes. Like, yeah, so there was that.
And how was it, the show?
Interesting. Like, as in, I talked to a lot of guys who've done The Ultimate Fighter. And they were very, like, they told me not to do it. Because I talked to, like, Chris Fields and Carl Pendred. I was training with them a lot right before I went out. And I got offered the show. And they were like, don't do it. I'm glad I did it. Like, I enjoyed it a lot more.
Why they said don't do it? What was there?
I think being in the Ultimate Fighter house is very boring because you're not allowed to read, you're not allowed access to your phone, you're like no books, nothing. So like you're given a version of the Bible and that's all. And you're around Americans and it's boring. Like, you know, being an Irish guy there, you can't have much fun. So like they basically said being in the house was really dull. Whereas with us, we were allowed our phones for like 2 hours every day. And as long as we weren't filming, you were allowed to have your phone. I could call home, I could contact my girlfriend. You know, it wasn't such a bad life. And the house we lived in was cool. South Africa was like really interesting country to like see and travel in. It's bizarre. Yeah, like nobody stops at traffic lights. And I found it like it's weird because it's so fucked up. You're like, why would anyone think of living here? Right. And after I was there for like 2 months, I was like, I could live here. Yeah, I like it.
Really? The Irish boy from...
But like the weather was so good. The food is beautiful. The lifestyle is really nice. And look, I don't know if I would live there because there's so much crazy shit going on and people with guns everywhere and there's, you know, you can't stop at traffic lights because people will rob you. But at the same time, there's something to it. I did like it a lot, yeah.
Interesting.
You know, I would go back, like I'd go back. I haven't seen Cape Town yet. Now, someday I'm going to go down and see Cape Town.
And how far you went in the show? Like
So it was very like controversial what happened because I was the first pick. So I went down, it was 10 undefeated middleweight guys. I went down, we did like a tryout session. I kicked the fuck out of all the guys in the tryout session and I got picked first because of this. And then because of this, I was like the number 1 seed. But then, now this isn't in the show, but they thought one of the guys got AIDS. So some guy, he got like a positive antibody test on his HIV thing. And now he'd been in training with us all for a few days. He was on the team that I was on because we got split into 2 teams. And then they just phoned he was gone. And they needed to replace him with a guy. But the way it worked was his fight was supposed to be the first fight because he was one of the last guys picked. And the guy they replaced him with had missed the fight. And they were like, look, if nobody goes back and fights this guy, then he misses out the opportunity. He can't win the show. He's just here for 10 weeks. And I was like, fuck it, I'll fight him. I was like, I just want to get paid on the side. So I got paid on the side and I went back and I fought this guy. And I beat him in a round. It was easy. Because of that, it ended up, I faced the number 2 seed, the guy who was picked second. So we should have faced each other in the final. So I faced him in the semis. Now, like, we were the 2 guys who were like, it was the final, basically. And he was a good athlete. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a tough fight. He was an Australian guy from Tasmania. He was a kickboxer. Powerful, but like not a great fighter. Took him down, had him mounted, elbowed him a few times. I can actually show you the footage, it's on my phone. But basically, maybe you can edit it into the video, but I'll give you the footage later. So basically, I've shot in, I've mounted him, I've elbowed him, I'm on top. It's about 3 minutes into the fight. He manages to escape mount. And he escapes, but he doesn't reverse me. So he just manages to get his hips away and he kind of like makes his way to the fence. I shoot in again, so I'm in on a double leg against the fence. And it's like he just goes to town on the back of the head. So it's like my head is like facing him. So my face is in his hip and the only thing exposed is like the very back of the head. So he's like boom, boom, boom into the back of the head, 14 elbows to the back of the head, right? So I'm conscious. Now, like there's times, you can see, you showed him the footage. There's times I'm like a little bit limp in the middle of it, but I think some of the elbows kind of woke me back up nearly. Now the referee is standing there like this the whole time, being like, and at one stage the referee tries to call time, but he doesn't shout, he doesn't do anything, he just does this. He's incompetent, right? So like, while like he's doing this, and the guy sees him and starts elbowing with the other elbow, because he's like, maybe this will kind of make him a little bit happier. So he's like, no, that's not good enough, tries to grab his hand, and the guy goes back to elbowing with the first elbow, right? So like...
It's really bizarre. He was have the footage?
Yes, I have the footage. Yeah, I can show you. So like, do you want to see it now?
No, we can watch it later.
Right? But basically, 14 elbows. Now, maybe 2 of them hit like this area, but the other 12 were like directly in the like spinal fucking back. Do you know the bit where you're like, okay.
Where it's just the prohibited
area.
Because
when they show you the back of the head, it's actually
right?
a much smaller area than you think. Because like if I hit your ear,
it's fine.
It's not the back of the head. This was like here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I fucking hate moaning about this shit. I hate the fact that it's come down to this. But at the end of that, the referee pulls your man's elbows away. I get up and I walk over to the other side of the cage. Now I am fucked. Like my balance is not good. I can't see fully. I'm a little bit like, what the fuck's after going on? But my corner are like, he's exhausted. Now, I don't really fully understand what the fuck's just happened, but I look over and I see he's fucking knackered. He's on the ground. And I remember I was beating the shit out of him. I was like, yeah, I'm winning. And I was like, what happened? They were like, don't worry, you're good. Now, I wish they'd just been fucking honest with me because I'd like never in a fight before had I not remembered what had gone on. But I just had a 20-second window. I thought originally that I'd picked him up and dumped him on his head and that I was the one that was getting, like, I thought the referee was going to come over and start like giving out to me that I'd done something wrong. But then as time went on, I was like, no, he's fucked up. And I'm like, something's happened to me. And I was like, that's why I can't see fully. I was like, yeah. And then,
now it makes sense.
Yeah. I was adding it all together. And then what happened was when the ref came over, he brought a towel with him. And I was like, what's going on? And he doesn't even talk to me. He just goes to the back of my head. Now, there's no footage of this, but actually, Joe.ie, a website in Ireland, they got the whole footage and it's crazy. So I watched like 15 minutes of like what happened one day about a year later, and it was like, holy shit, how the fuck, like, they really fucked up. It was huge. Like, it was ridiculous what happened. Anyway, but the referee doesn't even talk to me. He literally comes and wipes a load of blood off the back of my head. So the back, like...
So you were bleeding?
Loads. Like, as in, like, there was a lot of blood. So, like, behind me, because I thought it was sweat, you see. So I could feel shit rolling down my back, and I do remember that. Like, I was like, geez, my back is sweating a lot. but it was just blood dripping off the back of my head, like going straight down.
Because
Right?
he was open in this area?
Yeah. I had a load of cuts.
Which I never saw before, because it's normally
So that,
area
and, like,
where it's
even
like
what's mad is, right,
prohibited.
afterwards, like some of the guys, Graham, who was like runs the FC, Graham Cartmel, he was like, oh, some of them weren't to the back of the head. And I was two, like in fairness, I've watched it a lot of times. There was two that you could kind of say like, oh, that's a sign. And I was like, okay, they're not in the back of the head. This was at the time. And they wouldn't let me see the footage, you see, because they didn't want me fucking seeing the footage. And I was like, oh, weren't to the back of the head. And I had like cuts directly where the back of the head. I was like, what caused those, Graham? And he was like, some of them weren't to the back of the head. I was like, where are the marks from those? Why aren't the marks here? Why are they all like here?
Interesting.
Anyway, what they did was they called it a no contest. So they didn't DQ him, and they didn't give me a fucking DQ victory or anything like that. So because what happened was they had flights booked home already, because there was only about 2.5 weeks left in the show. So I think this was October 3rd. We were flying home October 16th, right? And they basically said, look, Will, you obviously can't fight again because you're concussed. We can't let someone who's had that happen to them fight. So it's a no contest, but he goes through to the next round.
And you don't.
And you don't. I was like, so you're rewarding him for cheating. So if I went in and kicked him in the nuts and he couldn't continue, I'd go through to the next round. Or if I poked his eye so badly he can't see, I'd be in the next round now. They were like, well, no, but kind of.
Would you consider this like your toughest fight? Or
No, not at all.
Which one is that?
Norbert Naveni was my toughest fight by far. Yeah, he beat the shit out of me pretty good. Like, it went to a decision, but first round I got him down. I was landing some elbows. I was doing pretty good. I trained with Norbert in London Shoot, you see, and I knew, like, when he was 15, I used to grapple with him, and he could submit me when he was 15 years old. And I was like, this kid's fucking really good.
And how come? What is this thing you would say inside of you that you know, normal people go to work and do something regularly. What is this thing that inside of you that this is why I feel the joy to do this?
I didn't have that. Like, because I used to play rugby, and like the game would scare me and I'd feel fear before it. So like the nervousness, because you don't fully have control, you're not like, and then the first few times I fought, like my first amateur fight, I remember I was sitting in the dressing room getting my hands wrapped, and I was like, it's a Saturday evening. All of my friends are out enjoying their lives, doing all this shit. And I'm sitting here like some fucking idiot doing this. Why? I was like, you're a fucking muppet, Will. So I bargained with myself. I was like, okay, you're doing it tonight. After this, you're never setting foot in the gym. Why would you fight? Why would you do this shit?
Interesting dialogue with yourself.
Well, literally, like 20 minutes later, I went out, I kicked the shit out of the guy because I was so full of fear, and I just beat the fuck out of him. And I came back to the dressing room and everyone's like, oh, Will, unbelievable, whatever. And I was like, okay, when can I go again? When can I do this again? So I think it gets trained into you. Because originally I felt such like anxiety around fighting. I didn't want, it's like, why would I publicly do that? I don't even like fighting with my friends or anybody. It's like, now I'm choosing to do this in front of a crowd. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah,
slowly over time, that became something that I really wanted. As in, like, originally I liked training. I liked fighting. Like, I liked fighting with my friend. You know, we'd have
as I understand, he was not that kind of kid that was like fighting on the streets. And
I had a couple of street fights, like, so a couple of the scars are street fights and shit. But like, I wasn't in prison as a kid. I don't have some fucking gangster background. I went to a boarding school. I was like, my parents were antique dealers. I grew up in a fucking pretty good environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, rugby is considered like a pretty like privileged sport in Ireland most of the time. It is, like, as in, like, you know, soccer would kind of be like one of the lower class sports. Rugby, no, my parents were like normal fucking people. They were antique dealers. They worked hard. They just, but they wanted things to be better for me. They sent me to a boarding school. They tried to encourage me to play rugby. They wanted me to have like a good, normal, strong fucking life. Unfortunately, I ended up being a fucking idiot. But I was raised in a good, like, I was raised with, you know, good things in my life, and like should have been a better fucking human being, really.
I mean, no, why not? You are. Like,
but I ended up like, as a kid, I got in a little bit of like, I got kicked out of boarding school, and I got in a bit of trouble. No, I never got like, I got like arrested for being like drunk on the streets a couple of times.
Yeah,
stupid shit. But
who wasn't in Ireland?
Yeah, well, like, in fairness, my dad was just like, what the fuck's going on? Because, like, I was pretty smart as a kid, like, as in school and everything like that. But at about 18, 19, I got arrested like 4 times in 1 year.
Okay.
And he was just like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I don't really know. Like, they were all stupid things. I opened the door of like a cop arrested a guy. I didn't even know the guy. I just saw that the police were beating the shit out of him and they put him in the back of the paddy wagon. And I was like, what did he do? I was just talking to the cops. Because Ireland, like, it's kind of more open culture, you know?
Yeah.
And the cops were like, none of your business, fuck off. And I was like, no, what happened, like? And basically I found out, like, pretty much a girl threw a drink over him and he was like, you bitch. And then the bouncer started beating the shit out of him. And I was like, sure, he did fuck all. And I was trying to argue with the cops. I was like, you're after beating the shit out of him. Just leave him go, will you? And they were like, no, fuck off. They were basically just like, it's none of your business. And they're right. It's none of my fucking business. But I was a bit drunk. So I was like, fuck this. So I opened the door. Like, David, like, went up to the bouncers there to report. I just opened the door. I pulled the guy out. And I was like, come on, fuck
From the
go.
car.
And he was handcuffed. So he tried to run and he fucking fell flat in his face.
Oh my God.
So I was helping him and he like fucking fell. And I was just like, oh shit. Because I knew I wasn't going to be able to pick him up. And the guards saw what had happened. So I was like, fuck. So I ran. And then I hid in a like group of girls that I knew. And eventually the cops were like, he's in that fucking group.
Yeah, it's hide to hide in your case, I believe.
Yeah,
like you're
exactly.
too tall.
So I ended up getting arrested that time. And like, I put up a little bit of resistance when they tried to arrest me, and the cops ended up having to fucking beat the shit out of me and taser me and all that type of shit. So
This
it was dumb. It was dumb. I was a stupid 19, 20-year-old. I went through a phase of being a bit of an
And your first fight was, how old were you?
21, 22.
So somewhere after
no,
this?
a bit older. So 2012, I would have been 23 because I was born 89. Yeah, so 23.
Yeah,
23.
okay.
So maybe 2-3 years later, I caught
later
on.
on.
It.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool, interesting.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. I like because I started training when I was about 20, 21, and from the time I've trained, I've never gotten in any trouble or been in a street fight or any of that.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How sometimes people aim the energy proper direction, I would say, no?
Yeah, I think it's like you have purpose now because like I played rugby to a pretty high level. Like I was fucking interested and I wanted to be as good as I could be at rugby. It was my kind of thing. It was like, this is what I want to be good at. And then I never got like fucking professional contract or anything like this. And once that had happened, I kind of felt a little bit aimless. And I was in college and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? So I did like, I have a degree, I'm a surveyor, I'm a quantity surveyor, but I never gave a shit about it. So like, I never felt any passion for this. It was never something I wanted to like really do. It was just like, okay, I better go and do something, you know? So I felt aimless. And then when I found MMA, I had purpose again. And I had like a direction. And I had something that I was like passionate about, that I fucking cared about. And like, once you have that in life, it's much easier to be disciplined and much easier to be like, okay, I have like, you know, I don't want to fuck around.
How it happened that you started with MMA? From rugby?
So I went to New York one summer. I kind of went illegally, like, so I didn't have a visa or anything. But I delivered antiques to this guy's house, and he was a builder in New York, and he was a fucking wealthy builder over there. Because Irish guys build everything everywhere, like, especially on the east coast of America. And I delivered to his house in Ireland.
I was there on St. Patrick's Day in New York. It was crazy. Everyone was Irish.
Yeah. But when you go there, everyone tells you they're fucking... Like, I've just been in Las Vegas, and the amount of people who came to me being like, oh, my great-great-grandfather's from Kerry. And they're like, oh, okay, cool.
It was funny.
You're not fucking Irish. Like,
everyone is somehow Irish, especially on St. Patrick's Day. Is this like in Fayette Avenue? You know, all the schools, the firefighters and policemen are working.
I've never been on St. Patrick's Day, but I hear
there was like the Chinese kids or Japanese school. Everyone was Asians, and they were in green. And like I was like, okay, everyone is Irish, really,
cool.
Like, in the world.
Okay, brilliant. You know.
So one day,
sorry.
So he was working there.
Yes. So I delivered to his house, and he was like, look, I'll give you a job whenever you want. So I rang him and I was like, I don't have a visa. He was like, just come over. So I came over and then I was working for him for a little while. And then he knew that I was doing surveying. And he was like, if you want a job when you're finished, I'll give you a job when you're finished. Like my college and all that. But in the meantime, I was playing rugby out there a little bit. Because he was good to me. My hours weren't crazy. I got paid pretty good. It was a really good life actually in New York. And I was playing a sevens game. So like sevens rugby is much faster. You have to be like quicker, you cover more of the pitch. It's like you're sprinting a lot, but it's a very short game. And we play on like a harder pitch. And it was a big fucking American guy. I was passing, so I caught the ball, I passed the ball, and this guy just stumbled and his knee fell onto my foot and it crushed like the arch in my foot. So when it crushed that, I couldn't walk for a couple of days and it was bad, and then I couldn't work because my job was labouring. I was like a labourer on a construction site. And I went to my boss, I was just like, shit, I don't think. So he was like, look, go home and get your surgery, do whatever you need to do. He was really good to me. So I went back home to Ireland because I have healthcare in Ireland. I don't have healthcare in America and it'd be crazy money. And when I went back, the guy was like, actually, maybe the surgery is not the best thing for you because it will be like a 6-month recovery. He was like, just do some boxing footwork. So he was like, we can rehabilitate the arch in your foot. And if you just stay up on your toes a lot and get balanced on your toes. And he was like, sure, you're a big man anyway. You'd like to do a bit of boxing. And I was like, yeah. And my grandfather was a boxer. He was a professional boxer, right? And I kind of always wanted to fully try it, you know? Now, I did a tiny bit of boxing as a kid in Ireland, but not properly. At this stage, I knew. And I knew because the rugby wasn't like... I'd gone away and I was playing rugby anyway just because it was what I do. But I wasn't going to make it as a professional player. So it wasn't like my focus, my full thing anymore. And as soon as I started doing the footwork for boxing, I was like, can I fight? And the guy was like, yeah. He was like, we'll get you a fight if you want. He's like, we'll get you another like beginner, novice guy. So I had a novice boxing fight. And that one, like, because I was kind of good, because like I had a good coach early on with boxing. And I knew like just the guy was a novice and I was a novice, but like I trained a lot in the space of like 6 weeks. So the two of us fought after that and I knocked him out pretty quickly. Like,
oh yeah?
Yeah, like, but it was novice. It was like really basic shit, you know, huge gloves, big headgear, all that. And that I was just like, okay, I want the purpose of this. I want the like buzz of like every day I can feel myself getting better. And like, I think that's one of the most addictive things about MMA. You can see the improvement. If I come in and put a week of effort into something, a technique or like a particular sequence or like, you know, just like if I focus very intently on one thing, I can see huge improvement in a short space of time. And then I can relate that and like, you know, I can demonstrate that improvement to myself when I'm beating the shit out of somebody.
Next fight, yeah.
And like, even in the spars, because like, look, it's been a year since I fought. So to get that buzz, I have to go and do it to people in a different situation, you know. Like fighting is so rare.
And you ever have a period when you want to like give up, like as you was telling to yourself, okay.
After I got caught for the steroids, yeah. So like this time last year, so what are we now at the end of April? No, this time like so about May, June last year was the first time I ever felt like, okay, maybe I need to fucking do something.
It was in PFL after the fight with the Polish guy.
Jocko, yeah.
So we both how was it? If you can like, tell the story for people who don't know, like if you can.
So, well, basically, like I was previously middleweight, so up until 2022, my fights were all at middleweight. I had one fight at light heavyweight, and I fought a guy who was fucking 100% used up. But anyway, I had basically fucking been offered the chance with the PFL to move to light heavyweight. I'd refused this, and then they came back to me and were like, okay, we can give you the chance to do the $1 million tournament if you fight at light heavyweight. And I was like, okay. Because I looked at, like, I saw Rob Wilkinson won it the year before. And I was just like, I can beat that guy. I was like, I can beat all of these guys. Fucking this, I can win $1 million here. So I went, I talked to a couple of people close to me, and I was like, I think I should do this. And they were like, yeah, I think you should do it too. And they knew what I meant, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So I did it, I got on some stuff, and I got way bigger, and I fucking got a lot stronger, and like, going to light heavyweight, thankfully.
Can you get that? What was that? Because not every steroids are good for, you know, for fighter.
Yeah. So what I was taking was testosterone and drostanolone. So masteron and testosterone. But like, they worked.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. So like I was 32 at that stage.
Okay.
No, 33 years old, right? And it was like I was fucking 19 all over again, you know? It was just like, whoa, shit, this is very effective. And like my recovery was through the roof. I felt it very easy. Like, to get past 96 kilos for me was very difficult. Like I could eat and I could do a lot of weights and whatever.
Oh, really?
And I'd get lean and I'd get like stronger a little bit. And like my strength would go up and down. But once I was on stuff, I was like, okay, you're going up past 100, 102, 103, 104. It was just like, oh shit, this really works. Like, you know, it works.
It works.
Yeah.
But the biggest benefit you would describe like was the recovery and the strength?
I think you can learn more. That's like, and look, I fucking, maybe kids listening to this don't need to hear this shit, but it's true. Like, if I was to do 2 or 3 sessions in a day normally, I'm exhausted by my 3rd session. So like, by the time if I do a hard training in the morning and we do some live rounds, and then I go back and I do weights, and then later in the evening, you want me to learn something? My body's like, you know, I'm not going to learn. It's not going to be fucking... When I was on stuff, hard session in the morning, weights in the afternoon, evening, come back at night. Okay, yeah, that sequence. Oh, you put your leg here, you do this. Okay, let me try it. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, yeah, cool. So your ability...
It's a big difference.
Your ability to learn is bigger just because you're recovered more. So physically, you're not exhausted. So your brain still works full. Like, it's like I have more resources to give you my attention. So my body is not as taxed, so my brain is less taxed.
All right.
And my brain can be more receptive to new information. So for me, the biggest thing was I noticed I can learn much more in this period of time.
I've never heard anyone saying this thing.
Yeah,
like your brain can take more.
Because your body's less taxed.
Interesting.
So like when your body is super wrecked, even like fucking while you're on stuff, like sometimes you're just too exhausted to learn. And that's most of the time if you're in fight camp or if you're training hard. And we do a lot of live rounds, you know, MMA guys, we like to we're idiots, like, you know, we try too much shit all the time. Like it's like, let's do this hard. Yeah, okay, let's do it hard. Nobody's ever going to be like, actually lads, let's do it a lot softer because we'll learn a lot better. Smart people will do this. Very few MMA guys have that sort of discipline to be like, actually, if we did this at 30% for 2 hours, it'd be way better than going for 80% for 20 minutes. We'd learn much more. We'd discover the whole thing. We'd understand it so much better. Most of the time, we're just going to go, no, let's go hard for 20 minutes. Let's get good and sweaty and exhausted, and we'll feel good after.
Full throttle.
No, you'll actually learn way more if the two of us sit here for 2 hours, break it down, understand, oh, if you put your leg there, then that shuts that down, blah, blah, blah. No, we don't have that. Whereas, like, I suppose you can do those things and do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, and then develop that understanding because you can just spend so much more time in those positions. And also, like, if you are doing one of those drilling sessions, at the end of that session, if we do 2 hours of light, I can do 20 minutes really hard and try it for real and make it feel real at the end of it all. So that would, like, recovery, like mental recovery.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very big.
And then what follows? Like, you had a fight and then...
So yeah,
how they discovered or
so we got tested on the night, but I thought I'd
after
before the fight, like a couple of hours before the fight. So
and
like,
you knew at that time, like, I'm fucked up? Or?
No, I thought I'd be good. I was off everything for like 3 weeks before the fight, so I came off like it was 21 days, 24 days before, and I thought the window was 21 days.
Ah, so you was thinking 3 days more.
Yeah, I thought I was good, but it turns out actually and I think because they caught so many guys, because like. They've found the new metabolite from Masteron that they can find. Ah, okay. So they got me on Masteron. Now, one of the things says TTE ratios, but the stuff I got sent by the commission was just for standalone, so like that. And they caught Jocko for Clomid, and they caught Thiago Santos for Clomid as well. Fakradine, who like looks very normal, doesn't look like he's on anything, he got caught for like 4 different fucking things.
Oh my God.
So I think it was just like, obviously they'd done their testing and they upped the game testing-wise a little bit because I thought I'd be okay, but obviously I wasn't. But as well, most of the time the results don't go public. That's what I've discovered since. I didn't know this at the time, but if I'd been tested in Illinois or in fucking, like let's say fucking Iowa or some other state, I would pay a little fine and I would serve my ban, but nobody would know. And Nevada are one of the few commissions. Nevada, California make the results public. So, like, unless you're in USADA and USADA release it, which, like, obviously the UFC guys are, or were, not anymore, but it's amazing the amount of guys who've tested positive who nobody knows about. So I would say, like, 80 to 90% of guys who've tested positive, nobody knows. Whereas, like, mine's public. So I can talk about, like, I can say this shit now.
So when it went public, like, next day or next days?
No, it's a while. So got tested, obviously, on the 1st of April, which was the day of the fight. I got an email like the end of April saying we've flagged the result. I woke up, I had like a fucking really weird like vomiting bug that week. So I woke up to puke in the middle of the night. And this was really rare for me. Like I very rarely get vomiting bugs or anything like this. And I went down to the toilet like and puked in the toilet. And I was like sitting there with my head like fucking in the bowl of the toilet. And I check my emails just on my phone. I see I've got one from the Nevada Commission. And it's like straight away I was like, there's no good reason they're emailing me. Yeah. And then I checked it because I was supposed to fight Rob Wilkinson about 3 weeks after this.
All right.
So I was like, that's why I was kind of worried about the vomiting bug. I was losing a lot of weight and everything. And I was kind of stressed about all of this. And it was like, fucking hell. And then I was like, oh shit. And it was like, I was stressed about the bug because I was like, this is not ideal. Come on, this is a big fight. Like, you need to be 100% ready. And then I was like, that was such a stupid thing to be stressed over. Why was I stressed over that? This is way fucking bigger. Like, now there's nothing. And it went from like, my whole life is about winning this $1 million. So every day you wake up with full purpose full like.
You saw this goal in front of you,
and it was just
right?
like everything you do in your life is related to winning this $1 million. So like everything, like, you know, every social interaction, everything around, that's what my brain is weighing up. It's like, how does it affect that goal? And now that's not there. Now it's completely, that's bullshit now.
Vanished.
It's gone. And you're just like, okay, why do I exist? What do I have? Like, why am I here? And it, like, there was a hard period of like, got to restructure how I think about things. Got to restructure what my perspective on life is right now. And look, it
And
does.
how was it like that those days? Like,
Tough, yeah. Yeah, but like, look, that I chose that. So like, I'm very privileged to be able to choose a goal like that and to be able to give myself to that degree. But to readjust is, you know, you go like,
what
it's
was
like,
your thoughts at the time? Like those days, like.
that's probably why I felt a little bit like the first time I wanted to actually walk away, because I felt like a little bit pity for myself. I felt like, oh, this is bullshit. Like I got screwed here and all the, you know, this sort of shit. And it's not fucking, it doesn't do you any good to think like this, but I couldn't help but feel a little bit like that. And then obviously you're like, financially, I need to make something happen here. Like, you know, I'm 34 years old now. I was banking on winning $1 million. It's not going to fucking happen now. So I felt like everything in my bank account's going to slowly start getting eaten into, and I don't have an income for at least 9 months now. So I had to restart. So like I went back, I started working again, doing a bit of construction, that type of thing, which was shit. That was not fun at all. Like
How, it must be hard to swallow this, right?
yeah, it did suck, yeah. And even like,
You built
thinking
something
back-
all your life, basically. Now you are touching the sky.
yeah, like the Jocko win was the biggest win of my career. And like, I feel like, look, that was a pretty close fight. Jocko was the most, honestly, and I'm not saying this now because like it's a year on. If I didn't feel this, I wouldn't say it. I thought he would be the worst opponent to get. When I looked at everybody in the list, I was like, okay, the last guy I'd want here is Jocko. And they gave me him for my first fight. And they changed it because originally I got Omari Akhmedov. And I was like, that's brilliant. Omari Akhmedov's a small wrestling guy. He would have come forward. I would have had a really good time fighting him. Because my style has been fucking so different for the last 2 years. And I want to demonstrate that. And he was a perfect opponent to show, oh, I've got some big weapons now. Now, you can talk all the shit you want, but I felt like I'm going to smash him.
You already like was thinking what you will buy, for example, for 1 million.
No,
It was not like that.
Like, I tell you, some of it was just validation of like, and that's still what I'm searching for, I feel like. That's why we're here. I feel like I haven't shown the level I'm at. And I can go in and do amazing things behind closed doors. And this was the chance to show, hey, yeah, you can't deny me now. I've fucking done it in public. I beat Chris Jocko. I'm about to beat Rob Wilkinson. I was getting such a buzz out of that. Because even like, look, like, you know, I do really well against certain people in the gym and people are like, how the fuck are you this good? And I'm like, because I've been this good for years, lads. You know? And then like...
So this is the thing you said? Like you were not fulfilled there. Their dream was gone. And now you are here. Because I want to ask you, like, what was behind when you signed the contract? You said, "Oh, I've signed this. You're all fucked up. Like I now will kick ass." You named everyone from the division, including Vemo Laputs, like everyone who fought fighting here. So this is the thing that why you are here to prove it again to get.
Yeah, it's got to be a legacy. So like, look, you're doing huge shows in Europe.
Yeah,
you have a real like. I've been at some of you. Like, you know, I was in Ostrava. I was with Paul Byrne years ago in Prague.
Yeah.
It's
you have been on the open air with Paul Byrne.
That was really special. And like,
oh my God, without Silavec.
Yeah, I've got him like my first impression with you guys was a really good first impression.
Oh,
so I've been keeping an eye, like genuinely. I'm not just talking shit here.
Yeah, it was Octagon 3.
Yeah, I've been watching your shows a bit. Like, so not all, like not every show, but maybe like out of your last 50 shows, I've probably watched about 15, 20 of them. You know, and even like,
yeah, great.
I keep an eye on your fights a lot, and like I kind of see, geez, they're getting bigger, they're doing more, they're like. Fuck, you know, it's like these guys are legit.
Now is
like,
the time.
So for me, it was like, okay, they're doing big shows in Europe. They're like, there's a possibility of fighting in stadiums here, and like, you have like a narrative. You build things for your fights. You know what I mean? You create a buzz. It's like, this guy's like that kind of character, like Youngworth, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason I should be interested in a fucking Christian Youngworth fight, but I am. You create it. You make it something that I want to fucking buy into, because I get who he is now. I understand what that guy's about, and I'm invested in him. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I hope he does it. You know,
right?
Because it's a buzz. It's like shit. Yeah, get him. Like, do it. Like, just do it. Like, because he has a soul.
Heart, yeah.
Exactly. He's a character. He's a fucking interesting human. And if you display that, it's great. To be honest, I'm not trying to shit on anyone in particular, but Bellator and the PFL, you feel like it's like generic guy 1, generic guy 2. They're both kind of names as fighters. Let's get them to fight. Okay, they fought each other. It doesn't mean anything. Nothing goes anywhere. It's like, well, what was the purpose of that? You know, one guy made a bunch of money. One guy didn't make quite as much money. Okay, next fight. You know, it's like, right. Whereas like, at least this is like, you're building something. It's like, look, I'm going to fight your number 5 guy, yeah?
Yeah.
If I go in and absolutely smash this guy, there's a chance of a title fight. There's a chance of like, you're going to fight some Czech guy in an open, like in a big stadium in the Czech Republic or wherever, like fucking Bratislava, fucking maybe even in
Germany,
Frankfurt.
Yeah, Frankfurt, big one.
Yeah. So like, these are special things. And it's a legacy you could leave. And like, look, if you fought in front of fucking 50,000 fans, I know that 50 is fucking huge. Like, hopefully you get there.
My
but
God,
like,
yeah.
imagine the buzz. Imagine the moment. Imagine like we're talking about those Max Holloway special moments. That's the ability to do that.
When you
it's
look
a platform.
back, right?
Sorry?
One day you will look back.
Not even that. In the moment you feel it. Like, look, when you're preparing for an event like that, it's special. Like, look, when I was preparing for that $1 million tournament, and even like my first Tree Arena fight, my first time fighting in the Tree Arena, the preparation for that made me feel like a more driven human being. You have a purpose, you have a goal, you have a thing that's fucking so set in your head. The ability to create that is huge. If I didn't feel like I could do that within this promotion, I wouldn't be fucking here. Like,
you have
I'm
it like
35.
you need to feel it. Like,
yeah, I need to be excited by the prospect of what. Like, if it makes me a little bit fucking nervous and it gets me a little bit like, ooh, fuck. Okay,
great.
Okay, cool. Then I'm like, it's interesting now. It's a challenge. It's a battle. I get to prove me to myself. So like, that's huge. It's that ability to show, hey, you're still that. You remember the guy 3 years ago that did all that shit? You're still that guy. You can rise again.
And how one thing I want to ask you back, and then I have a question regarding this, but because now you are talking about this, let's say, new journey or way what you want to achieve, this legacy. You are now here, tomorrow is your fight. Yeah. But when you was in this moment, when you was thinking to give up, I'm curious, what was the thing that helped you out to find a new path? Like it was.
So, like I didn't find a new path. I'm still doing the same thing I was doing. Yeah. But the thing that kind of highlighted, because I felt bitter, and I didn't ever want to be a bitter person. I felt like this thing fucked me, and you know, I was like a little kid, you know, like petulant, like fucking. It's not fair. Yeah. Why, you know? And it's like, I chose to do fucking steroids. It's my fault. I fucked up, you know? And like, okay, a lot of guys get caught and it's less consequences, whatever. I got caught very publicly and blah, blah, whatever, right? The thing that kind of got me through it all, though, because for me, it's like, I'm not involved anymore. I'm working, I'm out of the gym, you know, there's enough bullshit that I've dealt with over the years. And like, look, most of my best friends are in the gym all the time, and like, I'd still see them and I'd still chat with them and blah, blah, blah. So I knew I was going to be associated with the sport. But basically Carl, the guy who's over cornering me now, he needed me for the camp. He was fighting Alex Polizzi in Chicago. And he was like, I want you to corner me and I want you to help me. Like, and you need to be my main sparring partner for the next 6 weeks. This was just after my ban. And I said like, okay. Because he came to me, he was like, look, I need you, Will. And I was like, all right, fine, fuck it, I'll be in, like, you know. So any day you need me, just let me know and I'll be there. So I was getting off work to come and spar him. And then after a couple of weeks, I was like, this is the only period of my week that I'm looking forward to, you know? So like on the day, like he'd text me and he'd be like, okay, this Wednesday, like blah, blah. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Monday, Tuesday, all I could think about was Wednesday. Like the spar, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to mimic Polizzi.
Oh,
I'd watch Polizzi. Like at night, I'd go home and I'd watch him and I'd break down what he was doing. And then it became like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get away from this, am I? This is my obsession. Like I'm not going to be able to just leave fighting behind me. You know? And then like, I ended up having a conversation with one of my coaches in Chicago. So I went over to the corner with Carl, like, you know, I was his corner man as well. And one of the other coaches over there was like, okay, so what's happening now? He's like, I know you've just been helping, like your whole thing is you're helping Carl, and once that's done, you're done. And I was like, yeah, that's, because in my head I was still like, yeah, I'm finished. But I knew at this point, I was like, in my soul, I'm like, I'm not finished, right? But I kind of wanted to make him fucking get a little bit, like, see what he said, you know? And he was like, you can't be finished. And I was like, why not? I'm 34 years old. Doesn't matter anymore. Like, I'm not gonna, this isn't gonna be some Disney story. Nothing's coming. Nothing's fucking saving me at this point. And he was like, you're not fucking finished. And he was like, you know what you are. He's like, I know what you are. He's like, none of those cunts know what you are. Why would you be finished? You're a fucking Ferrari and nobody knows it. And I was like, yeah, but it's fucking, that, like, where does this story go now? Where's the fucking happy ending? There isn't a happy ending. And like, I was right. There isn't a happy ending in this. There isn't. But he was like, you're not done. And he was like, you can't be done because you're just too fucking good to stop this. And he was like, and you know it too. And we had a whole week to talk shit every day about this. And by the end of the week, he was like, I know you're not fucking finished. And I was like, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right.
And then after so I went home. Because I like, some of the points I made that week, it's like, because I said a lot of shit to him that I was like, this is very true, very real. Like, it's not, there's no financial security in this. If I'm going to fight.
No contract, nothing.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to get anywhere near as much money as I was just about to get. I'm not going to get anywhere near as much, like, even my basic contract's going to be nowhere near as good. I'm going to have to deal with all of this shit, talk about steroids and being the first Irish guy ever to get caught with steroids. I was like, why would I go and do all of that shit? And he was like, because you'll come and fucking with a bunch of guys' asses and look amazing anyway, and everyone will forget about everything else. And I was like, yeah, but it's part of me anyway now. So it's like, that's all part of this anyway. And he's like, yeah, and you're going to fucking smash it. So that was the kind of thing that, like,
it brings you back.
Carl, like, sparring Carl a lot and, like, having to go to Chicago. I feel like even if he didn't ask me to do all that, probably I would have just been so pissed off with general life, I would have come back anyway. But it was kind of nice to have somebody that was pushing me to be like, I'm not letting you go away. You're coming back. Carl's a fucking great guy. Like, look, me and Carl are very close. I love him. Like, he's just such a good human being in a lot of ways. Like, we're each other's main training partners. We beat the shit out of each other every day. But he's such a, like, he's a big teddy bear of a character, you know? And, like, he just fought for the world title with Corey Anderson.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I was so angry with this fight, like, because it was a very close fight, like, you know, and, like, I think a lot of people expected Corey Anderson to whoop his ass. And I feel like he was the better fighter for me. He was the more dangerous fighter for most of it, you know? And afterwards, I'm angry. And I'm very rarely, like, you know, like, look, it's the first fight he's lost in a long time. Every other time I've cornered him, he's won. And, like, a couple of the other lads were like, you're being a bit harsh, you know? You're being a bit, like, be a bit more positive. And I was like, he could have fucking won this. He could be a fucking world champion. He should be a fucking world champion. And that's the kind of relationship we have, though. And look, him bringing me along, like, him, like, not letting me leave, it's because he knew.
That's
He's
nice.
just like, yeah, you're not fucking done here.
And now, like, if you can, what is the ideal, like, scenario for you in Octagon now?
So,
from now.
Smash Didi Square tomorrow night. That's number one goal, okay? So everything after this is theoretical right now. So make it real. But obviously, a stadium show. I want to fight in the Czech Republic. I want to fight in your home base. Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, somewhere where you have the shows built. Because it feels different there. I've been there. England's not fucking the same. Like, being Irish in England, fuck England, you know? Fuck Birmingham. I don't give a shit about fighting in Birmingham. Like, I want to fight in the homeland, in your fucking area.
And who?
Like, you know who pissed me off is this guy Ducis. Now, and maybe he's not your title contender or whatever, but he was talking shit online this morning again. I'd love to fucking smash his face off.
Ducis.
Yeah. But, do you know what? Doesn't fucking matter. I honestly, like, look, maybe he's not the guy who's going to get me to the number one, like, to the fucking title. Carlos is going to retire, yeah? I can see Carlos isn't going to fucking fight me, okay? Grand. We have a little history. Like, we have real history. That's what people think, oh, you're calling out Carlos, you barely fucking know his name. No, I trained with Carlos 10 years ago in London Shoot. Carlos is the reason I don't have an ATFL in my left ankle.
Really?
So, yes. Yeah. So, like, I told Brian Lacey all this on the Octagon Hype show, but, like, no, obviously, fucking nobody listens.
Oh, yeah, I can like, watch all the content, yeah, but I'm curious.
But basically, so we trained together 10 years ago, more, 2014. So, yeah, a little, like, 10 years ago. And I sparred him a couple of times. Now, I used to be like 86 kilos. He was a bit bigger than me back then. We were sparring and I was like landing a couple of shots, whatever, but he caught me with a big overhand and he was like, he had me like fucked up with the overhand. So he caught me and then he attacked a single leg and I was like on the single leg and I was bounced on one foot and I fucking, my ankle just went. It snapped, right? Bad. Like it was fucking, you could hear it snapping. And I was like fucking, oh, you know, screaming, whatever. And he just kind of like stopped and he walked over the other side of the cage. And like a couple of guys came in and I was like, fuck, it's pretty bad. He never said shit. He just walked out of the cage.
Really?
Walked on. We were both there for like months after that as well. And I talked to him once or twice. We were never like close. We never.
Okay, interesting.
You know, I wouldn't be like, oh, we're friendly. Nah. But
So still there's a chance. So you're not a friend. So if there would be an occasion,
I would fucking love to fight him, right? And this is why I'm calling the guy out, because I want that one back. It's like, 10 years ago, you fucked me up. And you did. You won. You fucking beat the shit out of me that day. Give me a chance to get it back.
So that would be your ideal scenario to get the belt
He
with
was a
him
man when I was a kid.
to steal.
And now I'm the fucking
Yeah.
man. And I'd love to come back as the man and fuck him up.
All right.
You know?
So
But-
good luck. Good
Yeah,
luck with it.
thank you.
Yeah, perfect. So thank you that you have been here.
Cheers.
For the words. It's
Cheers.
inspirational.
No worries.
And good luck tomorrow with
Yeah,
the fight.
that's the main thing
Yeah.
now. Just fucking smash
So
it
the
tomorrow.
first step on the
Yeah,
on
exactly.
your journey.
Yeah.
And I hope you will get your legacy at the
I
end.
will.
here.
One way or the other.
We'll do our
exactly.
best.
Yeah, exactly.
To help you
Good.
build it up.
Thank you.
And one day, I hope we will make the show in Dublin.
That's okay. So look,
and you can
this
be
is,
there.
let me
Yeah.
finish because I kind of feel like I'm halfway through this.
Oh yes, sir.
So myself and Carlos fucking fight, hopefully win a belt over there. Now you're the champion. Now get your best guy, build it, make it fucking, okay, a real legit challenger. Even sign some guy. Sign some guy who everyone goes, oh fuck, Will can't beat that guy. That guy's world class. He's the fucking best guy in all of whatever. Oh, he's even from outside Europe. Sign some fucking Brazilian lightweight. Like, the guy. He's like your fucking flagship guy. Okay, we've got this world-class dude, he's coming in. Bring him to Dublin. Let's do a fucking show there. Let's sell out the Tree Arena. Let's have a big-ass fucking fight for a belt. And it's like, this the guy Will Fleury can't beat. Okay, cool. Let's have that fight in Dublin. That's the one. That's like, in my head now, that's where it's all going. It's me versus the guy I'm not supposed to beat in Dublin.
Okay.
That's what I want.
So you can prove people that they are wrong.
That's the legacy.
On
That's
your own
what the legacy is.
soil. Perfect. Good luck with that
Cheers.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is a great story.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been thinking
Yeah.
about a lot recently.
Perfect.
Like,
Okay, thank you.
cool. Cheers, Pavol.
The biggest tournament in the history of Octagon at the football stadium in Frankfurt. Experience the view from the front row with pay-per-view. Watch the tournament live at octagon.tv.